you breathe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday, February 5th. We are just a few days away from Super Bowl 59. We'll continue our coverage of that. We've even got some Super Bowl trivia planned as we'll continue that theme. Philip Pilkin has been cooking up some Super Bowl trivia on each and every show. We'll continue our ECU baseball roster rundown. We're live on X. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Hopefully the ECU burner accounts are watching because we're going to be talking about them too after a question yesterday on Hoist the Colors. We'll get to that over the next hour. If you got a question, comment, or concern, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it. Let's introduce today's cast. Returning in studio, Hoist the Colors intern James Giglio. James, how's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back.
Good to be back. So the last time we had you on, you were in studio. It was football season, you were telling me, you think?
I think it was maybe the FAU game. Maybe it was that long ago.
That was, gosh, it's been that long, man. Time flies. You have been on the quad box with Brady Thomas, who he'll actually be on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, that was right before the bowl game. That was December. So.
And you got, well, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about that because obviously your dad, Joe Giglio, covered NC State. So we'll kind of talk about if you got some bragging rights in with that game.
Yeah.
Philip Pilkington behind the glass. He is showing one of our new interns all the bells and whistles that he manages on a daily basis. How's it going, Philip?
It's good. I feel bad for Chris, our new intern, because, I don't really know much when it comes to the technology side. So I'm trying to explain stuff I know nothing about. But, hey, maybe he'll pick up on something.
Just one thing. If he learns one thing today, Chris, that is a
it's
success.
It's just bad teacher. That's all it is. If he needs to know, Super Bowl trivia, like what we're going to do later in the show, I'm sure I can teach him stuff there. When it comes to technology, not me. I'm still better than Joey football, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, look, I've got as many interns as I've ever had, including James, and I probably am not doing a very good job of teaching them things, so I just invite them to participate in this show or cover games, and they can learn it themselves. All right, James Giglio, we'll talk about ECU basketball tonight. Pirates hosting Rice, looking to get back in the win column. We'll discuss that here in a minute, but Military Bowl, you went with your dad.
Yep.
So what was that experience like?
Annapolis was a very cool town, I'd say. I'd never been up there before. So that in general was pretty nice. Bragging rights-wise, my dad, I would say he's more of an NC State basketball fan than football. So, he wasn't exactly
He wasn't devastated.
He wasn't, devastated. He also kind of expected it. So, but it was still good to, rub that one in. And I obviously have some fans, our friends that went to state. So it was good to rub that one in, too. And they were all with me, so. We
should share some of your text messages that you sent after the game on the air, and that would that would be fun.
That would be fun. I don't see why not.
maybe I'll proofread them for see what we can edit out. But good stuff there. Glad you got to experience that moment, and obviously still a sophomore.
Yep.
So getting to see a big football win like that probably means a lot to you.
I was definitely the biggest. I would say probably the biggest win ECU in any ECU sport I've seen since I've been here. So. It was really fun. And some ECU fans in the lobby at the hotel after were telling me about that it was a really big win. So take it all in.
Pirates will try to do it again. They open next year at NC State on August 28th. That now a Thursday game. We'll obviously talk about that a lot throughout the summer. All right, guys. Do y'all want to start with ECU basketball against Rice? Pirates, I think at last check, 7.5-point favorites. Cameron had a question yesterday. He wants us to talk about basically how bad the ECU burner-verse is. So should we start with basketball or the burner-verse?
I say burner because let's start the show fun, end the show fun. Not talking about basketball is unfun, but that's the serious bulk of the show. So we'll make a sandwich with it. We'll be goofy at the beginning because we're going to be goofy at the end with our Super Bowl trivia.
All right, ECU burner talk. So first off, I always get confused because a burner is technically supposed to be for example, if I had a burner account.
You do.
I do. But if I ran a burner account, I would have not tied to me in any way, right? So that way
Yeah.
people wouldn't know what I was tweeting.
Yeah.
So I could have a burner account. I could be on this list. I might be running State of the Pirates.
You might be straight up. You might be Igo's burner. You might be playing the long game on that one.
I might. And if I was, then, man, it's not very funny, but we'll get into that. I'm not very funny, so maybe it is me. I guess the burner verse is like kind of just people making fun of burner accounts by making these weird accounts.
It's like I think it's all like what's the word I'm looking for? Like parody accounts. Yeah.
So James made a list.
Yeah.
I was making a list. If you're on Twitter, this is what we have thus far. All right, and now so the handle of the account, basically the @. So if you type in @ a certain name, might be different than what we have written down as like the headline of the account. I don't know the title of the account, whatever. So State of the Pirates is one. Their handle is @MakeRowdyDowdy. You've got Power 5 Pirates. I will say, look, as somebody who is on Twitter a lot, these are the first two they were like the start of it. And they actually are like kind of serious about it to a degree. Now you've got a bunch of random ones. You've got Caton Hauser's burner, which is also @WastedECU fan.
Some of these are newer.
Irate Pirate, which I think is the same account that is @IGO911. You got Not Stephen Igo. You've got ECU Don, which is also ECU versus the world, and you have ECU Propagandist. So if we are missing any notable burner accounts, please let us know. That way we can discuss them on this show. So I don't know, James. I mean, NC State, I did notice leading up to the Military Bowl, they've got
a bunch of them.
They've got like 50.
Yeah, they got a bunch. So does UNC. I feel like UNC has one big one. It's like unsatisfied UNC fan, and he doesn't even go to UNC. He goes to like some community college. But NC State, you're right. They have a bunch of them. They have Dave Dorn's burner. They got one with
they got one for like every former player.
Yeah, they got one with like John Gruden's burner, and it's like him in an NC State hat or something. They have a bunch of them.
So is there like a star of this bunch? If we had to name a leader of the
The first person I ever noticed was ECU Don. I don't know if he's actually the leader. I just remember before the ODU football game, he tweeted something pretty funny. I don't know if I can say it on air, but it was pretty funny.
So ECU versus the world. I do not follow this account. It says ECU over everything. #BuntU. #beneath who. It says 2024 Military Bowl champions and big brother to NC State. And it has 685 followers versus 557 following. So it's got a positive follower to following ratio. I consider that a win for a burner account.
I mean, so you said 600 followers?
Yeah, 685
That's
followers.
really good, actually. I mean, I don't know if they're like the quote-unquote leader, like you said. That might be like State of the Pirates. But
So Power 5 Pirates, got to give them credit here, too. They've got the blue check mark. They have invested in this burner account. They have 1,009 followers.
Okay, so they might be the leader.
349 that they are following. Starting the dialogue, he says, ECU is a Power 5 school liked by Sheets and Big Game Boomer 2023 Rookie of the Year. That apparently was the thing with Power 5 Pirates. So I would say those two guys, and then Make Rowdy Dowdy is one that's been around a while. Let's see what their ratio is. Make Rowdy Dowdy. Make Dowdy Rowdy, I should
Dowdy,
say.
right,
Yep. No, that would help if I got it
say.
right. I was like, where is it at? State of the Pirates. They have 756 followers. They are following 146.
They have a really good ratio then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Are there any of these accounts that started in like early October? Just
So-
for the curiosity.
Make Dowdy Rowdy started in June of 2023. The Power 5 Pirates started in June of 2023. And ECU Don started in January of 2024.
Well, not that. Well, he could easily start before. I don't know, because we're kind of supposed to figure out if we know any of these people. The person I'm about to name, I have no inside information. I don't think he's any of these burner accounts. But for how much I know he sits on his phone and texts me and Igo every day, it would not surprise me if Scooter was one of these accounts, because Scooter spends more time sending us stickers in the work group chat and a bunch of other dumb stuff than actually doing his job. And somehow he's already gotten a raise at his new job. So good for you, Scooter. Clearly he's doing something other than texting us. But let's be honest. If Scooter was one of these, no one would be surprised.
No, Scooter is, and he's often trolling in the group chat.
Often? That's all he does.
Always trolling in the group chat. So if anybody's doing it, could be Scooter. Could be just random college students. Could be James. Could be James Juliet.
Well,
could be intern Chris back there.
My big theory is Brady's behind one of them, Brady Thomas. He's on Twitter all the time, so I think he's behind one of them.
Brady Thomas is in the chat. He says, never forget ECU Don posting a picture of Igo at a soccer game, his kid's soccer match to be exact. So maybe
that's right. I remember that. It was like a Saturday morning before a football game. You were at Slater's game, and we were like, wait for an HTC article about Slater's game or something, I think is what it was captioned.
All right, so let's use context clues here. If you are at a youth soccer game on a Saturday morning, these games are played at from like anywhere from like 8 to 10 a.m. If you're there and you don't have a kid, you've got some issues. B, unless you're directly related to the family, I would say. B, this likely means, unless that person falls in that category, which is very possible if they're taking the time to run the burner account.
Yeah.
It's a young parent. I think a young parent's running ECU Don.
Former college student.
Yeah.
Maybe 25 years old.
Am I off base there, guys?
I mean, I don't see why not. Maybe the only other way I could think of is if they have like a younger sibling or like a younger cousin or something, and they go to Greenville. They all live in Greenville. I mean, I don't know. The one I want to know is who's Igo's burner. That's I think
that's
the main
one I want to know. But what it could be too is it could be somebody who's retired, who's got a lot of time on their hands, and they had a grandkid play. Because it's not weird if you're out there watching your grandkid play, and they're retired, so they don't have a job, so they just troll Igo all day. I mean, if I was retired and didn't have a job, that's probably what I would do.
I mean, I don't know if a boomer like really know that much about burnerverse.
That's true.
Twitter. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe it's someone who is only 60 and they won the lottery. They had a kid at 28. Their kid had a kid at 28, so the kid's now like 4. It's normal.
I could see it actually. Yeah.
I know 6-year-olds know how to use Twitter.
So Stephen Igo's burner. This was started in December of 2024.
So that one's new.
So newer one. The @ is @not Stephen Igo, and gotta say, man, not a good follow to following ratio. They are following 129 accounts. They have 56 followers, so they are not doing a great job.
Not
of
one of the
building
better
thing.
burners. I mean, we know. I mean, like, I feel like there's some speculation on who is behind that account, but there's no like confirmation.
No proof. We've chatted
Zero
about it behind the
proof.
scenes. Zero proof.
I was not told about this pre-show. I know what we're talking about during the break now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him personally, but it's zero proof.
So we don't think it's a Hoist Colors intern. This is
No.
not chance.
No, it's not chance.
All right, so here's what I do think, because I'm looking at it now. I rate Pirate. Their Twitter is IGO911. They also were started in December 2024. 68 following.
So they're the same person.
21 followers. I think either they're the same person or they're best friends. You also have this. I don't even know if this counts as the ECU Twitterverse, but you have Moronic Mondays. What I've noticed is Moronic Mondays will often go in cahoots, big word there, with not Stephen Igo burner account. Moronic Mondays, which has been around since December 2018, so this one has been around a while. They've got a picture of a frog in an ECU uniform throwing a football on Twitter. Moronic Mondays, Stephen Igo burner, and whatever, Irate Pirate. They all run in the same circles, is what I think.
Did they get in like Twitter wars?
Yeah,
or?
they're always like tweeting about, going back and forth with each other. So I think they're all in cahoots.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe the one that was from 2018 runs the 2-1 now. I don't know.
Yep.
Just replying to himself.
Based off when these started and the fact that one of them had a kid probably playing against Igo's kid in soccer, these are probably a bunch of guys that I probably went to school with. They were just all frat brothers or a group of guys who were just close friends that were sitting around in their basement of their house on a Saturday and started this. That's my guess. Because, like, if they started in 2018, you got to think, I got to school here fall of 17. They could be a year older than me, roughly my age. That would be about right to have a kid Igo's, kid's age.
Yeah. So we haven't gotten any closer to find out who runs these accounts.
Speculation.
Let's talk about the big picture of all this, which is what Cameron wants to know. Do these accounts make ECU fans look bad? I would say yes to a degree, but also like it's kind of understood when you're running one of these dumb accounts, like it doesn't really speak for the full fan base.
No, and I would say, speaking not for NC State, but I've seen on some NC State Twitter dialogue that they have like somebody wrote an article actually. It's like NC State fans versus NC State burnerverse. So I do think there's some like boundary there or some divide there between fans and people running the burner accounts.
Does it maybe make the fans look bad? Sure, but let's be honest.
It's funny.
Every single athletic program who actually has fans
Right.
probably has the same crap going on. I'm sure it's going on at Alabama. I'm sure it's going on at Ohio State. I mean, it's probably not going on at Rice, but nobody gives a rat's behind about their athletics. I mean, so I guess that at least lets you know you got fans that care and you made it. Yeah, it makes it kind of look stupid, but, I mean, so welcome to the club. I'm sure it's happening in Ohio State too.
No doubt. They're everywhere. And I do think it shows the passion of the fan base, as weird as that sounds. I will say, if you're running one of these accounts, just try to be funny. And I don't know, some of them are lame. Some of them make me laugh. And if you want to stand out, consistently think about what you tweet before you tweet it. Even if you're running a burner, you at least got to make it a little funny.
Igo's burner, I will say. Sometimes he doesn't tweet anything funny, but sometimes I'll read it as it's like you tweeted it, so that makes it like funnier.
That is true. There's some that are like that. I'm like, yeah, I could tweet that, or yeah, I'm thinking that. But then there's others that are like, he's just like going after random people.
Yeah.
So he's got to find that balance. Not Stephen Igo. You got to find that balance. So work on that, man. But hey, props to you for, I guess, doing what you do.
He might have some more followers come football season. So
And he might be up to 60 by then.
You get followers because we're promoting them on this show.
We are.
You guys are. Well, I say you guys. All of us are literally just giving these people follows, probably by the fact that we're talking about them.
We give the people what they want. Cameron wanted to discuss it. What are the chances Cameron's running one
I
of
say
these
he
accounts?
actually might be behind it.
Ooh, that wouldn't surprise me.
Good theory.
I mean, he's the one who brought up the question. I have seen him tweeting about multiple times about these burner accounts and how stupid they are. Maybe he's just doing that to raise awareness of his own burner.
The thing is, though, with Cameron is like, Cameron, I don't know if he's got time. That dude keeps up with high school sports in the area. He keeps up with like random college teams that you don't even realize are doing. Like, Cameron is a sports fanatic. He really is. Like, if you need to know, you go to Cameron. Let's be honest. So maybe he doesn't have time, but also maybe because all he's doing is thinking about sports.
He's running these burners.
He's just it's just like second nature to him to run one of these.
All right, let's get a break in. We will stop the burner talk for now for people who are like, what are these guys going on? If you do have a question about a burner, drop that in the chat. We'll get to it throughout the show. We'll come back. We'll talk basketball. We've got to get the baseball Super Bowl as well. A lot to do on this Wednesday. James Giglio, Philip Pilkington in studio. We'll be right back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Steve and Igo. Yes! That was so good! On 94.3, The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday. We just talked ECU Burnerverse for a good 20 minutes. Now we'll shift to real ECU athletics. James Giglio in studio. Philip Pilkington behind the glass. Intern Chris hanging out as well. And we got Pirate basketball back inside Minges Coliseum tonight, gentlemen. ECU will host the Rice Owls at 7 o'clock on ESPN+. Rice comes in having lost 7 games in a row. They are 11-11 overall. They are coached by Rob Lanier, who used to be a fellow assistant coach with Mike Schwartz at Tennessee. The interesting thing about Rice during this stretch is they almost beat Memphis in their most recent game Sunday, lost by 3. They lost by 5 to South Florida. They lost by 9 to Tulane. They lost by 2 at FAU. Lost by 6 to UTSA. Lost by 3 to Temple. So, like, all these games, they have been within a possession or two, just can't get a win. So, to give you all kind of a snapshot of Rice, according to KenPom, they are ranked 190th nationally. They play one of the slowest paces in college basketball, 276th. They are 193rd in offensive efficiency, 194th in defensive efficiency, so very middle of the pack / below average. ECU is 158 in KenPom and slightly above Rice in those categories. So ECU around a 7-point favorite. Early thoughts, James, on this matchup? ECU Rice.
Well, I mean, based on what you were just reading about Rice, sounds like they're just a slightly worse version of ECU. Slow pace, can't close out games. But thoughts on the game? I mean, ECU had the 3-game win streak. They had all the momentum. To lose that Temple game like they did, Temple wasn't leading at all in regulation. They still lost. They never had a lead in regulation. Just a real momentum killer. I think ECU needs to win big tonight. Win by 15+. Just a really game momentum. They play UAB next, right? And UAB is one of the top.
I think they go on the road and then play UAB at home next week.
Yeah, we're at UTSA.
UTSA,
over the
that's
weekend.
what it is. Okay.
And then we play UAB.
I would say I know UAB is coming up, and UAB is pretty good. So.
UAB the next home game. That'll be a tough game.
But they need to win this game big, and they need to win UTSA big. And then I think momentum will be back for that UAB game. Because I think if they won that Temple game, they would win these next 2. And then, what was that, 6-7 game win streak?
Yeah, I mean, if they would have found a way to win, it would have been the first time ECU had ever won 4 in a row in the American.
Yeah.
And there would have been a lot of momentum. And I still think, the schedule is manageable. But tonight is a game you got to win. And
I think they need to smash them tonight.
Yeah. I mean, you just need to play. Just go out and play well. Philip, any thoughts on this game?
Well, first and foremost, the number 2 rule in sports is you can't lose to food. The only thing worse than losing to food is losing to toothpaste. Colgate's having a tough year. We don't play Colgate, so we're okay there. No. Look, you're back at home. Things didn't end the way you wanted to Saturday, so you can come out and do one of 2 things. You can feel sorry for yourself that, the refs decided to dictate that game, call 39 second-half fouls, and you came out on the losing end of it. Or you can go out there, try and speed up a slow-paced team, get out in transition, even if you don't force a live ball turnover, even off a made basket or a missed basket, kick it out to the wing, get in transition, run and gun, do what you know how to do to slow teams. To James's point, we're not a real fast team because we also slow down faster teams when we play them. But the one thing that we've kind of done a good job of is controlling the tempo this season and making teams do what they don't want to do. We did it in the first half against North Texas, where we played them. We sped them up. So if we can do the same thing to Rice, get them out of their comfort zone, I think things will be good. Continue to crash the offensive glass. However, I'm tired of watching R.J. Felton lead the team in rebounding, not because I'm tired of his hustle, but we need somebody a little taller than R.J. bringing down 12 to 14 rebounds a game. So I challenge one of our big guys, whether it be C.J., who did have 7 the other day. That was second among all players in the game. Or, somebody else to go out there and crash the boards a little better than RJ. But, play tough. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Try and, shoot the ball a little bit, but don't do it so much that if it's cold, which you'll probably get cold because you're ECU and shooting threes, don't force them. But, like James said, we're the better team. So go out there and play like the better team, execute, and you should be fine.
Rice is led in scoring by Trey Broadnax, who also is averaging 6 rebounds a game. He's averaging 13 points a game. Gets to the free throw line a lot. 115 free throw tries. They're really not a good shooting team, but they do have 2 really good shooters, if that makes sense. So they're shooting 32% from the floor, 32.8% from the floor from 3 as a team, which is below the national average. Still better than ECU. But if you can stop Denver England, it looks like is the pronunciation of his last name, an SMU transfer who came with Lanier, and also Alim Hisnovich. Is that good? Crazy pronunciation. He's shooting 38%. England is shooting 39%. Those 2 guys have each taken 123s. They have taken 240 of the team's nearly 500 three-point attempts. So basically, those are going to be your three-point shooters that you got to mark on the scouting report. And with ECU's zone/man defense, those are the guys you got to be aware of. If those 2 guys go off, you're in trouble. If ECU can hold those guys down and I think play decently offensively, this is a game they can win. And hopefully, like you said, James, going away. But I've seen enough ECU basketball. I just hope for a win.
Yeah, you just gotta hope for a win. You obviously hope they destroy. I think that would be a real way to get some of that momentum back. But I think Rice, UTSA, 2 teams that are bottom of the conference. I think you need to win, cover the spread. UAB is not going to be easy. They got Tulane still. Do they have South Florida still? I don't know if they have South Florida.
So they're done with South Florida.
Done with South Florida and Memphis, yeah. UAB and Tulane will be tough.
Yeah, I just pulled up the standings. So Memphis at first place in the league right now, 8-1. You're basically just over the halfway point. You play 18 conference games. So Memphis 8-1, UAB 8-2 in the league. They'll be coming to Midgie's next week. North Texas 7-3 in third place. Temple, which is why this was such a big game, swing game in the standings. They're 6-3 now, tied with Tulane for fourth place at 6-3. ECU does have Tulane twice, home and away. FAU's at 5-4. They are in 6th place. ECU gets to play FAU the final game of the year again. ECU tied for 7th with South Florida at 4-5. UTSA is at 4-5. Pirates go there Saturday. You got Tulsa at 3-6, which ECU has already defeated. You got Wichita at 2-7. Wichita, man, what a disappointing program.
Disappointing.
Rice at 2-7.
Final Four.
Yeah, they were when they were added to the league. I expected Wichita State to be like the runner, like run the league. Yeah, like Memphis and Wichita State to consistently be in the tournament, and it just hasn't happened at all.
Yeah, Wichita State, I remember when they went to the Final Four. I don't remember, but I know they went to the Final Four, and then they were a 1 seed. I remember they had that one year they went 38-0 and lost to Kentucky or something.
Under Greg Marshall, they were always good.
Marshall, yeah. They had some NBA players on that team, too. I remember Fred VanVleet, Ron Baker, Clay Anthony Early. Those are 3 NBA guys. But, yeah, they have not transitioned well to the American.
No, there's no reason. I know SMU left. I know Houston left. I know Cincinnati left. UCF even. Those are all decent teams. Still, why in the world is this not a 3-bid league? It should be Memphis. And then, theoretically, you think Wichita State, Tulane, South Florida, at least 2 of those.
UAB historically is always good.
Temple, it's the 6th winningest program of all time. Now, part of that's due to one of the oldest, but still, this should not be. It's a mid-major. I'm going to call it what it is. It's supposed to be a power conference. They play that whole. They used to have that P6 sign back when there was a true power. Oh, we're the 6th conference. Well, if you're the 6th conference, you should be getting more than one damn bid in basketball. This is. It's embarrassing, honestly. It's
honestly similar to baseball. You've got a lot of programs that historically a lot better than they are right now. Like in baseball, we were talking about off the air, Rice, Tulane, Wichita State have all been to the World Series, and yet they can't even make the tournament right now. Tulane can because they only win the conference tournament, but that's a whole other story. Like the old Conference USA with ECU, Memphis, and UAB, like this is basically that league. I don't know. It's just Charlotte.
I mean, that's not historically not a bad basketball school.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the days of Bobby Lutz, late
They were
90s,
always in
early
the tournament,
2000s, they were good. I mean, they've been to have they been to a Final Four? I know they've at least been to Elite Eight. I think they've been to one Final Four.
It's just it should be a multi-bid league, like you said. Like conceptually, ECU obviously not traditional in basketball as far as being good, but like compared to a lot of these other programs, and even FAU we saw like randomly go to the Final Four,
and then they get added to the conference, and they haven't been what they were either.
Yeah,
we should be the Power Four and the Big East should be the 5 best conferences. We should be in a dogfight with the A-10 for 6th. Should be us in the A-10 every year, and it should be where one league gets 4 bids, the other league gets 3. They've been a little down. VCU's good this year. Dayton's on the bubble, but overall, I mean, St. Louis is meh, and St. Bonaventure's okay. But, there's no reason to be worse than the 6th. I guess maybe you give a nod to the West Coast Conference because of Gonzaga and St. Mary's, but still top to bottom, we should be better. I mean, the only other team in that conference anybody's ever heard of is San Francisco, and that's just because they won 2 titles in the 50s.
Yeah, well, I would say I feel like the A-10 and the Mountain West, too.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mountain West, I feel like, are just tiers above.
The last few years, Mountain West has gotten really good at basketball.
Yeah, San Diego State.
Yeah.
Last year, New Mexico didn't go far in the tournament, but they were good.
Boise
got in.
Good.
They're having a rough year this year. Colorado State was really good last year.
Yeah. I mean, the Mountain West, I feel like, is like multiple tiers above the American right now. It's kind of crazy to say that. And like the West Coast Conference, they just added Oregon State and Washington State for basketball. They've been in that conference for basketball this year. So
crazy landscape of college sports, and I don't know how much the travel has to do with it too. Like, does it just wear on some of these teams like Wichita, which used to be in the Missouri Valley, right, and didn't have to travel that much. So
yeah, and it's not like they were playing bad competition.
Yeah.
Look at the Missouri Valley. Murray State's down this year, but they were in there. Drake,
Bradley's pretty good.
Bradley, yeah, they're historically a really good team. So
yeah, maybe we'll have a big picture American Athletic Conference basketball discussion later on this year. But there's your update again. ECU right in the middle of the pack. Some winnable games coming up, but you got to take care of business tonight, starting with Rice and Minji's 7 o'clock tip-off. All right, we'll get a break in. When we come back, we'll do some Pirate baseball talk. We got to continue our Pirate baseball rundown. We'll get James's take on the season ahead, what he's expecting, and more. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers. Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. Here there be pirates. Back to Hoist the Colors with Steve and I go. How good is this on 94.3 The Game?
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on Wednesday, February 5th edition. By the way, it is like National Signing Day, but ECU isn't expected to really sign anybody at last check. They did all their work in December. I thought I would mention that. We did post our signing day with superlatives on hoistthecolors.net, so check that out. And we have talked ECU burner verse. We have talked East Carolina basketball. They host Rice tonight. Let's talk some ECU baseball. So we got Kason Ramaley, former Hoist the Colors intern, in the chat. He says, shout out James Giglio, man, real ball knower. So you have the vote of approval from Kason Ramaley. By the way, follow Carolina Curveball for all your latest college baseball needs. Speaking of college baseball, James, we've been doing our roster rundown.
Yes.
For baseball, because there's 28 new players this year.
I was going to say.
How familiar are you with this roster?
I mean, I'm familiar with, obviously, the returners. not as familiar. I will not lie to anybody. But, I mean, once I get to some games, the names will start getting down. So
there's a reason we're doing this, because pretty much nobody, unless you follow baseball recruiting or have been out to like 10 scrimmages, like some of us have, you really don't know what to expect. So we'll continue that. We've been going in numerical order. We're on Ethan Norby, who is one of the returners, is a preseason all-conference pick, appeared in 20 games last year, 10 starts, went 4-0 with a 3.79 ERA, 63 strikeouts against 25 walks and 59.1 innings of work. Ethan Norby, sophomore lefty, number 18. At last check, the plan was to start him in the bullpen. It's kind of like a guy who could come in any situation, go long, go short, close out games if you need him to. He's been up to 92, 93 this preseason when I've seen him. Looks sharp. I think he's going to have a big year, Phillip, for the Pirates on the mound.
Yeah, man, look, Ethan Norby is the – sorry, I was explaining something to Chris.
Good.
We were talking about Ethan Norby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was showing something. So anyways, look, he's got the highest upside of anybody in the staff. He's going to be – right now it sounds like he's going to be the high leverage guy, but he could be your true closer. He could be your high leverage guy. He could come in and be a starter, and we saw that last year. That speaks to his skill set, but it also speaks to his maturity. And that is something that Cliff Godwin talked about time and time again last year, is just how mature he was. Now, he compared him a lot to his brother, who he likes to say was not very mature his freshman year, but obviously his brother has grown into maturity and become a big league starter. So, just the attitude of Ethan Norby, when you talk to him, he doesn't look like a 19 or 20-year-old kid in the way he carries himself. And he truly is a team guy. He's going to do whatever AK and CG ask him to do, whether it be a high leverage guy, whether it be a starter. He's going to fit into that role, and he's going to do it with a smile on his face.
James, how do you feel about using one of your best pitchers, at least to start with, as kind of like a guy who you could deploy at any situation versus maybe if you start him on Friday night, you kind of burn him for the whole week. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, maybe early season, I'm not completely against it, because you kind of want to just figure some stuff out. Obviously, a lot of new players coming in, so I mean, not completely against the early season. Maybe when we get into March, April, maybe not the biggest fan of deploying one of those guys Friday or Saturday. Wait for them to be a bullpen guy, but I mean, early season, not against it. I mean, obviously these returners are going to have to be big this season for us.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. So kind of throw some guys in different situations early, see how they react, and you can bring in Norby to put out the fire, so to speak, I think is kind of the thought process. But we'll see how it unfolds. All right, number 19 is Jackson DiLorenzo, 6 foot, 245-pound right-hander, short, stocky, good arm. Throws a heavy fastball that's hard to square up. Last year as a freshman, appeared in 20 games out of the bullpen. Went 2-2 with a 4.62 ERA, 26 strikeouts, 10 walks, and 25 innings of work. DiLorenzo, from what I've seen, he's added a cutter this offseason along with his fastball and breaking ball. Just looks more refined as a pitcher. And, look, freshman relievers is tough. I think he's going to make a big leap this year, Phillip. I really expect DiLorenzo to be a back-end type of bullpen arm for ECU.
Last year when he was good, he was good. When he was bad, he was bad. That's pretty much every freshman in the country to ever play college baseball. And like you said, he's developed his arsenal, and he is going to be one of those guys, I think, by the end of his career here is going to be a Danny Bill or a Wyatt Lungsford Chinkman where we're going to him almost too many times. And this year will be a huge stepping stone to that. It's all about consistency, right? He had a lot of good outings. Like I said, he had some rough ones, but, hey, it is what it is. And I think he learned. I saw maturity in his mannerisms. I saw maturity in his being able to locate his pitches grow as the season went on, and I'm sure there's going to be a huge jump from year 1 to year 2.
Number 20 is Jake Hunter, a name we all know because he is a senior in the program going in his 4th year. Last year was another guy who started games, pitched some relief, 14 appearances, 6 starts, went 3-2 with a 4.05 ERA. He has thrown more than 120 innings, I believe, in his career, so super experienced, 6'4", 225, and had the injury at Memphis last year. Looked at the time like he might need Tommy John. He ended up getting the internal brace procedure and is well ahead of schedule considering what we expected last year at this time. He has thrown in a starter's role. He's thrown in a reliever's role. So we'll see, James, where he starts the season. But really, he's one of your returners with a lot of experience. I guess the unknown is kind of coming off the injury.
Yeah, coming off that injury, I mean, obviously, thank God it wasn't Tommy John because then he'd be out probably this year.
Yeah.
And so then you're losing another guy with experience. But I mean, another guy on the bullpen that you're going to need with experience. This team's very new, so I mean, I don't know if he's going to be what he was, but it's good he's going to be back.
When I've seen him this preseason, he's been 89 to 91. Like last year, he was touching 94, 95. But I think the hope is opening weekend he can go out there and throw a couple innings. And whether they want to start him, I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, you've got some other guys that are banged up right now, so you may need to start him almost as an opener type. That to me is one of the biggest intrigues, Phillip, early this season is how they use Hunter and what he looks like. Because I don't want to put too much pressure on him coming off a major injury, but it would be big if you could have his experience pretty much ready to go right away.
Yeah, you don't want to put much pressure on him due to a physicality standpoint. Now, mentally, throwing him in tough situations doesn't worry me. He's a mature kid. He's ready for it. So I do think, just there is something added pressure about being a starter. So I think if he's not ready to go out and throw 4 or 5 innings, which we know he's more than capable of when healthy, it wouldn't surprise me if we see him in that opener role just because of the fact that, his blood pressure and heart rate's not going to go up because he's starting an East Carolina baseball game with 6,000 people yelling at him. It's just second nature to him. He's been the Sunday starter here. He's not been maybe as consistent as we want him to be, but he's been pretty darn consistent. The biggest reason why he didn't look consistent is because he was being compared to Trey Savage and Zach Root. So compared to them, he wasn't as good. Compared to most of the pitchers in this conference in college baseball, he was pretty damn good.
All right, our last roster rundown for today, number 21, Austin Irby. Now, I know neither of you guys have seen this kid in person. He's a freshman, but I think he's going to open the season hitting in the middle of the order. He is a big-time advanced freshman bat, I would say. He's listed at 5'11", 200. Just looks confident, calm in the box, left-handed hitter. Good power. I've seen him hit multiple balls on the practice field in live settings dating back to the fall. Was one of the top prospects in Virginia. His older brother, Michael Irby's going into his redshirt freshman season as a pitcher. And I think ECU fans are going to like him because he just kind of has, he plays with some confidence in scrimmages, and I think that's going to carry over in the game. So he's going to be one of the freshmen we see, and he's played first base. He's DH'd. Definitely his bat plays, and I think he's going to be, again, as a freshman, you don't want to put but so much on expectations on his shoulder, but I think he's going to play a lot, Phillip. And I don't know if you've heard anything about Austin Irby in particular, but I'm telling you, don't be surprised when he's in the opening day lineup hitting somewhere in the middle of the order.
Yeah, he's been the consistent name, whether I talk to, when it comes to these freshmen fielders. They say there's going to be 3 in the lineup. We're not really sure who all they're going to be, especially in the corner outfield. Well, he's the consistent one right now. Does he start in the field, or does he play DA, or does he DH? Who knows? But there's one question, I think, moving into the season about Austin Irby. He, like every player who's ever played a single season of baseball, will have a bad series, will have a bad weekend. When you're not a freshman, you bounce back, no problem. When you are a freshman, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So in Series 4 or 5, when he has a rough weekend and he goes 1 for 13 on the weekend, does he show up in the midweek and still have the confidence he had going into his tough weekend? That's the only question I got for this guy. The talent is there. The defensive ability is there. The power is there. And I think he's got the mental headspace to play at this level. And obviously it'll end up working itself out eventually, but you just always wonder with a freshman what happens when the going does get tough.
All right, we'll continue our roster rundown tomorrow with Brady Thomas. James, are you ready for opening day, February 14th? Only
I'm excited.
9 days away.
I'm excited. Baseball season's here. I mean, honestly, great time for sports in general.
Yeah.
Super Bowl week, basketball's ramping up, baseball's next week. I mean, MLB's coming soon.
Daytona 500, baby.
Yeah. I am excited for opening with George Mason, right? Yeah.
George Mason, February the 14th, 4 o'clock. It'll be here before you know it. Next week. As crazy as that is to say, next week, next Friday will be opening day. All right, we'll get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll talk Super Bowl. We'll get James's take on the big game. We'll also have some Super Bowl trivia. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
Ready to go for big savings? You've got the green light at Greenville Toyota with the new Corolla just $239 a month or new Tacoma only $349 a month. The green light savings event is on right now at Greenville Toyota.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves Tiebreakers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. You get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Hey, grab me one too.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available, call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Green is what you'll save during our Green Light Savings event at Greenville Toyota. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $339 a month. When the green light is on, you save big at Greenville Toyota.
Back to Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo.
Drink up, me hearties, yo ho.
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. Final segment here on this Wednesday edition. We got James Gilio in studio, Philip Pilkington producing. All right, James, Super Bowl 59 coming up. Eagles, Chiefs. We just saw this 2 years ago. Super Bowl 57. Your thoughts on the game?
Immediate thoughts. Chiefs are really good. They can three-peat. Patrick Mahomes, though, will not be the GOAT if they win this game. I'll say that.
So who's the GOAT? Tom Brady?
Tom Brady's going to be the GOAT. I think Patrick Mahomes will need to win 8 rings to be the GOAT because Brady beat him once in the Super Bowl. But my prediction for the game, I think the Eagles are going to win. I don't really have any analysis to back it up. I just have a weird feeling that the Eagles are going to win. The Eagles stopped a three-peat, technically, with the Patriots a couple years ago. I think they stopped another one. I think Saquon Barkley has a big game. I think he gets Super Bowl MVP. And the Eagles were going to win that Super Bowl probably a couple years ago if the refs didn't bail out the Chiefs. I'm not a big ref guy. I think the Chiefs are good. I don't think the NFL is rigged for the Chiefs, but
feels like it sometimes.
But I think there was some questionable calls in that Bills game, but I think the Eagles are going to win. That's what I predicted before the playoffs, and I'm just going to stick with it.
All right. I hope you're right because I cannot take another Chiefs Super Bowl victory. It is disgusting, and I don't want to deal with it. All right, Philip, do you have any Super Bowl trivia cooked up for us?
Yeah, I do. So, right now, the Patriots and Steelers both have won 6 Super Bowl rings. There's only one team who has been awarded 7 Super Bowl MVP awards. Hint, it's not either one of the teams I just named. Who is the only team in NFL history to have 7 Super Bowl MVPs despite not even having 6 rings?
So you can get a Super Bowl MVP with a...
Oh, it's the Cowboys. They had a defensive MVP, didn't they? Or a
Yes.
MVP for a player that didn't win?
So they had an MVP in a game in which they lost,
Yeah.
and then they had a game in which they won, in which they received 2 MVP
Yeah,
awards.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes, so it was both.
Yeah.
How do you get multiple MVP awards?
I don't, because your Broncos couldn't run the dang ball, so they gave it to both of their
It was
defensive
a
tackles.
co-MVP, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And then when they played the Colts in Super Bowl V, the Colts turned the ball over 8 times and somehow still won the game. And Chuck Howey had like 2 picks and like 2 forced fumbles, so they gave it to him even though the team lost.
I would say that was, yeah.
So the last Super Bowl and the only Super Bowl MVP from a losing team was Chuck Howley.
Super Bowl V,
Yeah. Which is just stupid.
Harvey Martin and Randy White are the only co-Super Bowl MVPs against you in Super Bowl 12.
Why give Super Bowl MVP to a losing team? Any other trivia?
Crap, I had something else. I saw something the other day. I remember asking my roommate this.
Well, if you need...
Yeah. Here it is.
Okay.
What is the only Super Bowl that has ever happened? The 2 teams played each other who could never play each other again in a Super Bowl, but they have in the past due to changing of conferences.
Jets, Colts.
We just need to have James always answer the trivia questions. He's way better than you.
Dude, I mean, you're kicking my tail, man. You want to take over the show?
I mean, I know.
He's a Jets guy. He's a Jets fan.
Yeah. Well, that was Jets, Colts, Super Bowl 3.
That's correct.
The only Super Bowl the Jets have been to.
Yeah, the only Super Bowl they'll ever go to.
The thing is, I normally cook up like one question because it takes Igo so long to figure it out. But now that you're on the dang show,
I think I could bang some of these off.
I think you could.
Yeah.
But you've already listened to the earlier shows where I've asked him stuff, I'm guessing.
No, I've listened to a couple of them. I don't know. If you could pull up some, I probably could bang them off. But.
Yeah. We got time. You guys talk about yourselves.
So the Jets.
God.
If you want to kill some time. What are the Jets doing? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back, or what are they going to do with that?
The Jets are a disgrace. They're never going back to the playoffs. I actually do like their head coaching hire, Aaron Glenn.
I do too. I'm a big Aaron Glenn fan.
But another part of me is like, is this just Robert Saleh 2.0? Defensive coach coming from a team.
I think he's got a little bit more juice.
He might have a little bit more juice. Well, Robert Saleh had a bunch of juice in San Francisco, and the Jets just drained every last bit of juice out of him. So, I mean, I hope they don't do that to Aaron Glenn. But Woody Johnson, as long as he's the owner, we're never going to the playoffs. As long as Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback, we're not going to the playoffs. I like the coaching hire. I like our offensive coordinator hire and the defensive coordinator hire. But yeah, we're not anywhere near the playoffs.
So the Jets, the Jets? Just, I don't know, something about their colors, their scheme is just always turn me off.
Losing.
Who's your favorite Jets player of all time?
Mark Sanchez. I have 2 Mark Sanchez jerseys.
Mark Sanchez is your favorite player.
I have 2 Mark Sanchez jerseys. One's actually signed by Mark Sanchez, and I have a picture of Mark Sanchez at Panthers. He was commentating a Panthers game a couple years ago, and I went to see Panthers-Bucks when Brady was playing. So
the butt fumble was the highlight of your life.
Well, I never even got to see it. So
what about Sauce Gardner? You gonna invest in his jersey?
I actually do like Sauce Gardner. Yeah. I like him. I like Garrett Wilson, even though apparently Garrett Wilson wants to be traded.
I need him to be traded to the Denver Broncos.
Apparently he wants to be traded. I mean, save yourself at this point. I'm not gonna be mad, but I do like him. Sauce Gardner's probably my favorite player on the team right now.
Do we have any trivia ready, or are we gonna? You want me to keep this Jets talk going?
Yeah, we're gonna trivia question.
Okay.
Who is the only team to never lead in a Super Bowl when playing in at least 4 Super Bowls?
Maybe the Vikings.
All right. Well, James is done with trivia.
He got it. Oh my gosh, bro!
Well, yeah,
that is wild. Man.
I just knew the Vikings were 0-4 in the Super Bowl, so
I was gonna say Bills, but I felt like they were leading in those games. So
yeah, I mean the Bills. I feel like were leading at one point in one of those games.
But they in the Bills Giants game was very much a back and forth game.
That one was easy, Philip.
Bro, we need to take James to some sports trivia.
I know. I actually want to go. I see Clip posting on Twitter. I actually want to go.
We need to get you out there immediately because you're much better than I am, and Philip is no match for James. We'll see if we can stump him. Maybe we'll get you back in the studio next week. We'll go stump the Gilio.
Stump James.
All right.
Segment.
We're out of time. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon. Appreciate James and Philip and intern Chris.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors.